Yo boys, I built a 4-2-3-1 that's actually insane. After grinding through the most sweaty games in FC26, these tactics and roles got me top 30 in Europe, and it's not by luck. High pressure, elite width, easy build up, but more importantly a cam that turns into an absolute monster. This isn't just another recycled tactic, this is the new meta. If you're trying to win more games and dominate both ends of the pitch, this is the one. And real quick, if you enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe as we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers and every subscriber counts. Let's break it all down. So, we're starting off by showing the team. I obviously play a 4-2-3-1, the second variation formation. And it's the one with left mid, right mid, not the one with the cams, for example, because that's a normal 4-2-3-1. Very, very hard formation to fit players into the 4-2-3-1 with the cams. Enough said about that. This is the 4-2-3-1 formation. These are also restrictions, so I can't really use, you know, all high-rated players. I can't use them. There are pro restrictions, so we can only use 3 players from 88 to 91 rated. We can't use any players that are higher than 91 rated, and everyone else needs to be under 87 basically. So Raya in goal, right back Marcos Llorente, left back Nuno Mendes, center backs will be Yapstam, who is an hero, and Marquinhos on the other hand next to him. Very, very good duo for sure. CDMs is going to be Reinders and Frenkie de Jong. Right mid and left mid will be Kylian Mbappé and Nico Williams. And then as a cam, we have the best player in the whole game, Aitana Bonmati. I'll explain to you guys later in a few clips. But also we have Alex Morgan, newly added to the game, finesse shot. She has everything you're looking for. Most important thing then, when you play a 4-2-3-1 formation, you want 2 CDMs that managers have minimum tiki-taka in white. Both Reinders and de Jong managers have tiki-taka in gold, and if you're looking for cheaper alternatives, for example, I would advise you guys to get Caicedo. He is not super expensive. I would also advise you guys to get Juan Neves, perfect. And if you're on a bit more of a budget, I would advise you guys to get Hasegwa. I believe she is from Japan, playing for Manchester City. Very, very overpowered card as well, which manages to have tiki-taka. And for the rest, more importantly, you want your fullbacks to be quick, center backs to be quick. I play with Marquinhos basically because he has intercept gold, and I think that's a really, really good playstyle to have for a center back. Aitana Bonmati, as I said, best player in the game. Why? She has the best playstyle in this year's game, which is going to be the technical currently. Very, very good with the R1 dribbling. Very, very easy to turn with, very good left stick. But more importantly, you need your cam in the 4-2-3-1 to be able to have incisive pass. And it helps a lot with Aitana Bonmati because she also has tiki-taka. So it's very easy to combine in this kind of trio between Tiani Reinders, Frenkie de Jong, but also Aitana Bonmati to play this kind of first-time passes with the tiki-taka playstyle. For the wingers, you basically need them to be quick, but also manages to have either finesse or low-driven. If we look at Nico, he manages to have finesse. And on the other hand, if we look at Kylian Mbappé, he manages to have finesse, but also low-driven. Now for the striker, you also want a striker to have low-driven or finesse, and Morgan has finesse in gold and low-driven in silver. And yeah, if you want a few cheaper options, Pina here, for example, is really, really good. Cheaper alternative for Bonmati, I would advise you guys to maybe try out Wirtz. He's a bit more expensive, obviously. And if you watched the video from yesterday, I gave you a few hidden gems. So go and watch that, and you can put these players into the squad. Enough chit chatting. Now we jump into the tactics. So we're starting off with the tactics then. 4-2-3-1 wide is going to be the formation. I play short passing, and I know a lot of players in general, a lot of pro players don't use short passing. A lot of people use balanced. I felt like short passing was easier to combine with my team. I felt like they were always available to play on feet, and I feel like on this game it's very, very important to be able to play with the player's feet, because through balls are good of course, but then you need to send your players. But if everyone is running forward, it's very, very hard to basically go forward. And I also use short passing mainly because Bonmati, as you see there, is on shadow striker. She is not on playmaker. So I think short passing combining that with shadow striker works very, very well. Defensive approach will be high, basically because of the automatics of side traps that's happening. It's not happening if you put it on balance, so that's why I mainly have it on high. Starting off with the goalkeeper then, I have Raya on ball playing keeper, basically because he has that role in ++, so I decided to go for that. If you have another keeper, Courtois, Donnarumma, Mamardashvili, whatever, I would advise you guys to use sweeper keeper. I think that's still the best role, but I play ball playing keeper on Raya because he has that in ++. Fullbacks will be both on fullback defend. I don't really want them to be making runs in behind, and I decided I think they are actually tucking in a bit more and making it more compact if they are on defend. So that's why I decided to basically go for fullback defend for both of them. Both center backs will be on defender plus. I don't think it's worth to have stopper or something like that. I still think defender is by far the best role to play on center backs in this year's game. CDMs will be on deep line playmaker build up for both of them. Yes, you could argue that box crasher is actually a really, really underrated playstyle this year, but I still think that deep line playmaker plus build up for both Reinders and de Jong is working very, very well. And if I feel like I don't really create a lot, that's when I put one of them on box crasher It's basically like a box-to-box, but as a CDM role. Left mid, right mid will be on inside forward, and Nico manages to have it in +1. Mbappé, I don't think has any roles pluses in left mid because he's mainly a striker, of course, but he's working very, very well out there. And to be honest, I think personally that Mbappé is a bit overrated this year. I don't think he's that good as people actually say he is. Anyway, going into the best player in the game, Aitana Bonmati, shadow striker. You could argue that playing her as a playmaker should be better, but then again, she doesn't have any roles in playmaker, classic 10, or shadow striker. So I decided, okay, I played her first as a playmaker a couple of games. I didn't really create anything with her. Was having a very, very hard time, you know, getting into the box. And the difference between shadow striker and playmaker is that in playmaker, in build-up, she's available a lot of times. It's easy to play herself out, and she's helping a lot in the build-up. But she's not really getting into the box, and that's the reason why I decided, okay, I want Aitana Bonmati to be either inside the box or just on the edge of the box, because I still want to use that R1 dribbling as much as I can, especially when she has that in gold, the technical playstyle, because it's so goddamn good and it's so hard to defend against. And also Bonmati manages to have low driven, which you will definitely see in a few clips coming up in this video as well. Then Alex Morgan has advanced forward in +1. Unfortunately not ++, but I don't think it matters too much. You could argue that support, versatile, or attack, I mean, you could try it out, but I still think attack is the best one. So these are basically the tactics. If you want to copy my tactics, there is above the 4231, copy this code and let me know down in the comments whatever you guys think about it. Now we jump into a few clips and I will tell you how you play with the 4231 formation. So we're starting off to play against the Koray German Pro. This is only going to be highlights from Pro Ladder games. And it's going to be us playing with the 4-2-3-1 formation, basically. So when you start a 4-2-3-1 formation, you want one objective when you're around the halfway line. You need the cam or the winger making that run in behind to push the defense down, to be able to gain more space and more time on the ball for yourself. So as you see here, I decided to send Llorente early. Now I decided to send De Jong instead of Llorente. I play it out wide to Williams, and when we go wide, that's when the opponent's AI goes over, because the AI usually, you know, moves along where the ball goes, which makes sense. It's following the movement of the ball, basically. Then I'm doing a play lock to Bonmati that manages to have tiki-taka and incisive in between the pocket here, but I also see, okay, I already sent De Jong, which means that I can probably play a first-time triangle pass here, because Bonmati manages incisive wide, but also tiki-taka, and adding that together, her first down through balls are really, really good. Finding De Jong, and from here, De Jong finds the back of the net and a very, very good goal. So tip number one, need to be able to send either a winger, either a center midfielder, but I wouldn't really send your cam, because the cam is going to be the pivot of the whole attack. You need to have that cam in the middle to be able to find Bonmati, in my case, in space, and then play the through balls from her, either to the wingers or through to the striker. And this is going to be a perfect example of what I just talked about. Okay, I decide to send Bonmati on a run. I see that she is now running. Then after that I decided, okay, I don't want Bonmati to make a run, because Bonmati, I need her to be able to be that kind of playmaker. Even though she's on shadow striker, don't get me wrong, she will be a bit more higher up than playmaker, but I still want Bonmati to be able to play this through balls, because she is the only one in my team at the moment from the attacking players that manages to have incisive and wide. So we want her to make these threatening through balls in behind. So when I go to Reinders here, I send Mbappé down here. Mbappé has his arm forward. He's making that run in behind. Okay, I do a play lock to Bonmati. I know that when I get the ball here with Bonmati, Mbappé is just about to run away from Llorente. And Koray, one of the best German pro players to ever play the game, is a bit late on the switching here with Llorente. I see it, and then I play a through ball with Bonmati's first time incisive. And we managed to score to make it 2-0. And a really interesting fact with this finish as well, chat, is when you get into these kind of opportunities, Mbappé now, I know for example, he has the game changer playstyle, so he can perform Trivelas. I would advise you guys from this kind of angles to try out to actually shoot a Trivela first post. I put a lot of power on it, you see. You can't really see now, but I put 3 bars of power onto this shot, and Mbappé manages to score. But you could also argue that you could go for the far post here. But I decided, okay, I want to go for a first time shot or first post, and it flies into the back of the net. But mainly, one more thing, as I was explaining before, is don't trigger the cam to just make runs in behind. Either you want your wingers to make the runs, the striker, or just send one of the CDMs to make a run in behind to push the opponent's defense off and gain more time and space on the ball. And this is actually going to be a clip where I basically do a thing that I said that I shouldn't do before, but this is a bit different. So when I send Bonmati here, for example, I'm trying to look to play Bonmati again. I do a very, very good play lock to Nico, and here I bought a lot of space for myself because I triggered Bonmati forward. He knows that Bonmati will make that threatening run in behind. Now, when I get the ball with Morgan here, I know Bonmati is still going to run. I haven't sent anyone else because if I trigger someone else, Bonmati will stop this run. But Bonmati is making that threatening run in behind. I see, okay, he's reading it now, but I'm doing a double tap triangle here, which this pass is the most assisted and broken pass in the game. And this is going to go around Marquinhos, first time finish with Bonmati, into the back of the net, and we score to make it 3-1 with a really, really good attack. But it's all about the triggers and having at least one player triggered in behind all the time, so your opponent needs to worry about the player running, which once again will buy you time and space on the ball to decide what you want to do. But more importantly then, how do you want to defend? Because now I basically showed you what you want to do in attack. How do you want to defend with a 4-2-3-1 formation? Yes, you want to use a lot of times your CDMs because they will be a bit more deeper down because they are CDMs than if you were to play a 4-4-2 with flat CMs or a 4-4-1-1, for example, who is basically the same formation, but the only difference is CDMs and CMs. And as you see here, as soon as he just breaks this line between my CDMs, that's when you try to be a bit more aggressive. So Korai breaks this, he wants to break this line. I step a bit with Marquinhos. He could have gone for the through ball here, but after this, I decide, okay, now I also play 70 depth. So take into consideration, when he's moving the ball backwards, that's when my team automatically steps. So I basically put myself in a very, very good position here with Stam to cover this run to Wirtz, and he doesn't have anything. De Jong doesn't have any long shots. Long shots on this game doesn't exist. So I put myself in a very, very good position with Marquinhos. I'm in front of Reinders here, so he can't pass this one. Then obviously he tries to go to Eto. Reinders is in a very, very good spot because they are obviously CDMs and they will put each other in a better spot because of the position basically. I managed to take the ball and start my counter attack from there. So one more clip that I want to put into context regarding the defending situation in the 4-2-3-1, and this goes for all formations in this year's game, is to try to put your players into the positions that they should be in. Because once you pull players out of position, that's when the AI starts to compensate for each other, for example. And we don't want that. We don't want, for example, if I step out with Llorente, we don't want Stam to go out and play as a right back. We don't want him to move. We still want Stam to be in the middle of the pitch to be able to defend, because that's basically where he finds his best version. So he goes out wide here, my opponent, to Reiten, and I already decided, okay, I want to be aggressive. But at the same time, I need to cover off this inside pass, because once he finds this pass in between the pocket of space, between the center back and the fullbacks, is very, very hard to defend this year. So I'm trying to track back, but at the same time use a second man press here with Stams. And I track back with De Jong. He's running right into my Stam, who I'm using second man press with, and from here I can manage to get the ball. But I also want to show you guys when I step out here. This is obviously kickoff, so this is going to be a bit different. But when I step out here heavily with my right back, as you see, Llorente, Stam is coming over to Wirtz. He gets locked into the basically animation. And from here, Wirtz is basically through on goal. And he has two options. He can either play Pina, or he just goes by himself here with Wirtz and manages to score. The thing he does is when I move over here with Marquinhos, I try to basically bait him into making this pass early, which I get him to do. But I step a bit too much. And once you're in this kind of situations on this game, L2 jockeying, there's no way that you will get close to the striker or the cam if they have decent technical dribbler or general a good player with a good left stick. Manages to find Pina, and from here with Pina's low driven goal, she can basically shoot it wherever she wants and the keeper will glitch and score. So she scores basically kick off, but this is only because I step out with my Llorente. So I don't need to be aggressive. I can just let him go to the corner flag and try to do a reset. It's fine, because then I still have my CDMs in position. But as soon as I step out with my fullback here, that's when Stam tries to come over and compensate. And because I miss with Stam, that's when Marquinhos tries to compensate. And then it's going to just be holes in your defense. So keep your players in the right positions. And I don't mean that as go around and control a CDM for the whole game. Do that as well. You could do that if you want to, but that won't make you a superior defender. If you really want to become top tier, learn player switching, but also don't pull players out of position because you feel like you need to, because you don't. I don't need to put pressure here, but I decide, okay, I really want to get the ball because it's kickoff, but it's the wrong decision to make with Llorente. And from this again, he scores because, yeah, I basically step out with Llorente out of position. And as you guys see here, Ollelito YT top 30 in the European ladder. And there it is, the 4-2-3-1 that took me to top 30 in Europe. Whether you're trying to climb rivals or push for higher ranks of foot champs, this formation and tactics will give you the edge. If this helped you out, drop a like and let me know in the comments how this formation plays for you. And more importantly, don't forget to subscribe. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and I got even more tactics, player tips and breakdowns coming soon. Appreciate the support as always. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.